everyone, it's Delaney and I have another art project for you this week. So this week we'll be making origami flowers, and in the end they'll look something a little like this. You can flip it over and it'll look like that. So what you're going to need are 5 pieces of paper, and they shall be cut into squares. You could either use construction paper, regular white paper. I used white paper and then decorated one side of them. So it's up to you what you want to do. You'll need tape for the assembly, and then if you need, I used a pencil to help with the folding, but that's optional. So gather all your materials and we'll get started.
Alright, so let's get started. So the first thing you're going to need are pieces of paper, and they should be cut into squares. You can use any kind of paper you like. I used printer paper, I cut them into squares, and I decorated only one side, left the other side in white so it'll be easy to follow along. And again, you need 5 of these. I have 4 right here because I already made one into the flower petal, and it looks like that. So you're going to need 5 petals for this flower. And then you could also use a pencil, and you can help that for your folding, and you'll need tape for the assembly. So our first step in making the origami flower is to make all the petals. So I'm going to show you how to make one, and that'll start like this. You're going to hold it with your decorated side, if you decorated one side, on the bottom, and you're going to fold it in half, like so. If you want, you can use your pencil to go over the fold to make sure it's nice and sharp, but if not, then just make sure that it's nice and folded, and then unfold it so that in the center you see this line down the center, and we're going to use that as a guide for our next step. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the top corners and we're going to fold them to the middle. Sort of like we're making an airplane, and we're going to do this on both sides. So as you can see, I'm taking the one side, I'm lining it up with that center line, and then I am just folding that down to make sure the fold is nice and sharp. And I'm doing the same thing with the other side as well. Alright, and once we have that fold, you'll see it looks something like this. And what we're going to do, we're going to unfold those as well. And now you see we've got 2 more guiding lines, one there and one there. And those are going to be used for our next fold. And so we're going to take the corners and fold them in again, but this time, instead of going to the center line, we're going to stop at the guiding lines that we just made. So I'm just going to fold it in, and it's a little tricky to do in the air, but I'm just going to fold it in so that the edges line up with that fold line that we just made. And I'm going to do that on both sides. Again, feel free to use the pencil to sharpen your folds, but make sure you do this on both sides. Okay, and now that we have those folds, we're not going to unfold these like we did the other ones. Instead, our next fold is going to be to fold those in on the line that we just folded. So from the previous step, when we had folded the corners into the center line, you're going to just refold on that line so that you have the point at the top and you have 2 triangles sort of near the center, but not quite touching the guide center line. And it should look something like this. And our next step is going to be taking these edges, and we're going to fold them to the center line. So you're just going to take the one side and make sure the flat part of the side is lined up with the center, just like that. And you're going to do this on both sides. As you can see here, I'm just taking both sides and I'm making sure the flat edge on on each side is lined up to the center guiding line that we made in the beginning. And I'm making sure the folds are nice and sharp. Again, feel free to use the pencil if you want to go over it and make sure you have a nice fold there. And once that's done, your petal should look something like this. And now what we're going to do, we're not going to unfold it, but we're going to take the bottom right corner and we're going to fold it up to the top left corner. So we're going to take it and then just pull it up, and it's a little tricky to do in the air, but you're going to take it and then just pull it upwards so that you make a triangle. You want the bottom side to line up with the left side. So just take it, fold it up like this, and you'll see you make a triangle right on top, and then just fold down on that line like so, making sure that everything is lined up. Again, feel free to use the pencil. All right, now that you have that, your project should look something like this right now. And now we're going to do a lot of unfolding. So we're going to unfold this. We're going to unfold the two towards the center, and that's it. So you should have all these guiding lines on your paper. So you see this long diagonal line, our next fold is going to be along that. So that line right here, the diagonal one, you're going to fold up just like this and then fold down on it. Just like that. So again, I'll show it to you. This guiding line right here should fold up so that it lines up with everything else, and it should sit just like that. And then there's a little guiding line right here, so that little triangle should fold inwards like this. And that's what your project should look like at this step. And now you see there's a guiding line right there. It's a little difficult to see, but what you want to do, you want to fold that down so that it's the opposite way it was folded before. And so when you do this, you'll notice that there's a part that pops out a little bit, but that's okay, because what we're going to do, we're just going to push that in. We're just going to push that part in once we folded down that center line. That way we get a square and then a sort of parallelogram on one side. So just push it in and then fold it down. So you see we have a square there and then a sort of parallelogram there. And then that's what it should look like in the end. And I'll show it to you again. So the line that we've made right there, you're going to fold down, and then that part here should pop out, and you're just going to push it in so that you make a square and a parallelogram. And then your project should look something like that. And so our next step, there's a guiding line right there, so we're going to fold it in just like this. And you're going to go over that fold. Feel free to use the pencil if you need it. And so now it should look something like this. Now you're going to fold it in half across the guiding line, but instead of folding it in, you're going to fold it outwards. So just go over the center line again so that your folds are nice and tight. And what you want to do, you want to hold it so that you're on the flat side and not the side with the edge to it. So once you're on this side, you're going to take the bottom and you're going to fold it upwards and to the right so that you make a sort of triangle. And you can use this side as a guide because you want to just fold so that everything is hidden away from that edge. And you should make a upside down triangle when you make this fold. And so after this, we have one more fold to do, and that's folding this triangle in half down the center. So you're just going to fold it down the center so that it lines up with the edge, and then everything is sort of in this trapezoidal shape. And so once you have that, you're just going to unfold the one that you made down the middle so that it's not in half anymore. And you'll see now that we have a flower petal. And this part here, it's going to stick out a little bit, but that's okay because we're going to be using that to connect all the other petals. So you can see there are two identical petals there. So now what we need to do, we need to repeat these steps for the rest of our sheets of paper. So feel free to pause the video, rewind if you need to, and make your other 4 petals, and then unpause when you're ready to move on to the assembly. Okay, and now that we've got all of our flower petals done, we're going to move on to assembling them. All right, so you're going to take one of your petals, and you're going to see we have this part here that we had made. And you're going to take another petal, and you're going to see that on the opposite side of that, there's a little pocket that you can wedge open with your finger a little bit. And the notch that you made should slip right into this little pocket, just like that. And then it should be connected. And it has a tendency to sort of slip out, so if you need to, go ahead and apply some tape to either the front or the back side of the flower petal so that the petals don't come apart when you're assembling the rest of them. All right, and so you see we've got our tape right there, and the flower petals are now stuck together, and we're going to do this with the rest of our petals as well. So you're going to take the little notch that you have there, the tab, I should say, the tab, and you're going to stick it into that pocket of the next petal, and then you're going to tape it together where the tab meets the pocket. And now I'm going to speed up the process of me attaching the rest of the petals, but feel free to pause the video if you need more time and unpause when you're ready to go. All right, and I just wanted to show you the attachment of the last petal to the first one. So the first petal that you started with should have that pocket, and you just want to insert the tab from the last one you attached. And again, apply some tape to where the tab meets the pocket, and then your flower should be completely assembled. All right, and then once that's done, you can see that you have one side of the flower and you can have the white bits showing, or you can go to the solid side like this and you're all done.
All right, and we're finished. As you can see, this is how mine turned out. You can either hold it like this with the white part showing, or you can go for the solid side as well. So if you need to, go ahead and rewind the video if you need to rewatch the steps in either folding of the petals or the assembly. Be sure to post pictures of your finished origami flowers into the art folder because I'm really interested to see how your flowers turns out and all the colors that you made them. Other than that, I will see you next week with another art project. Bye!